Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I want us to look at the continuation of our syllabus in Element 10 of NEBOSH GCI or NEBOSH International General Certificate. Our previous video we talked about, we introduced the Element 10. Our previous video we introduced Element 10 of the IGC2 or GCI2. We introduced the topic fire. We talked about its element, and we also talked about its classes. So I will go very quickly to revise on what we already discussed before we embark to our today's discussion. In our previous video, we talked about the three elements of a fire. We said for a fire to start, the three things must be present, and that is the fuel, gas, and the source of heat. Fuel, gas, and source of heat. We said the fuel that the fuel is anything combustible, any solid combustible material that can get heated and it can catch fire. That is what we call, that is what we refer to as fuel. Any combustible material that can catch fire and can burn, that is what we refer to as fuel. The second thing is gas, and particularly the oxygen is what supports burning. And the third element, we said that it is the source of heat or the source of ignition. With these three elements, a fire can start. Therefore, if you want to separate, if you want to extinguish fire or you want to put out fire, the only thing you need to do is to separate these three elements, or you can just remove one of it from the presence where there is fire and the fire can go out. We also talked about the classification of fire. We said fire is categorized into 6 classes. And we mentioned that class A is made up of solid combustible materials such as wood, textile, plastic, and so on and so forth. Class B, we talked about the flammable gases, flammable liquids. Class B, we talked about the flammable liquids. And class C, we talked about the flammable gases. Class D, we talked about the combustible, combustible metals that can burn easily, such as potassium, magnesium, sodium, titanium, and many others. After that, we talked about class E, which has now been added as a class of fire, and this type of fire is caused by electricity or electrical any electrical appliances or equipments. And the last class we talked about, class F, which is caused by flammable cooking oil or cooking fats. Now, I want us to move on. I want us to move on with our syllabus, and today the principles of heat transfer or principles of heat transmissions and fire spread. So that will be the discussion for today's video. So if you are new in my channel, in this channel, I kindly request you to subscribe, to like and share the videos so that this information can reach as many people as possible. So since this topic is a very critical topic, I am going to discuss and talk about each and every aspect one by one into details, so that if you are a learner, if you are a student of NEBOSH IGC or GCI, the new syllabus, the same topic applies to the new syllabus, and you will be in a position to note down each and every point so that it can assist you in your examination as well as implementation in your workplace. So, how does the fire transfer? How does the heat transfer from one place to another? In case there is fire, how does the fire start and spray from one place to from one end to the other? And that is when we are going to look into details. There are four methods. There are four methods where the heat can easily transfer. There are four methods where the heat or fire can spread from one place to another. And these four ways, or these four methods, are the ones that are going to take us through our video. Number one is direct burning. Number two, convection. Number three, conduction. And number four, radiation. Number one, we are going to talk about the direct burning. Now, when fire starts, it can burn an item, or it can burn a material. And when a certain material is burning, the heat can easily be transferred to another material which is nearby, and by so doing, the fire can easily spread from one end to the other. So, direct burning is the simplest method of fire spread, where a flame front moves along through the burning materials. For example, you can look at an example where you take a piece of paper and you light fire underneath. So, due to the fact that the paper is burning, the fire can easily transfer from this end to the other through direct burning. So there is no any other method here where the fire can spread except through the material that is burning. So the direct burning is the easiest and the simplest means or method that fire can spread from one place to another. Number two is convection. Convection is another method it's another means where fire or heat can easily transfer from one place to another. So, convection is the principle that hot air rises and cold air sinks. This method where fire or heat transfer happens where the hot air, when air is heated, usually it becomes light. When air is heated, it becomes light and it rises up. By so doing, when hot air rises up, the cold air eventually will sink down to cover or to replace the cold air. By so doing, within a short period of time, that particular area, the whole air within that area will be hot, because there will be like a rotation of air. The hot air goes up, the cold air comes down, and the cold air will get heat once again and will raise up. The hot air above will cool, it comes down again, and this rotation of the air as it gets heat high and high is what we call convection. So convection is the principle where the hot air rises up and the cold air sinks down. So hot gases generated by the fire, they rises straight up from the fire. Now, when this happens inside a building, this is what is going to happen. These hot gases will hit the ceiling and then spread out to form a layer underneath. So the hot air, when it rises up, it spread out in that particular room or in that particular building. When this hot gases touches any combustible material, when the hot gases, which has already formed a layer above the ceiling, when it catches any combustible material, that means any material that can burn easily, such as wood, plastic, curtain, cloth, or any kind of combustible material, it will heat up sufficiently and the fire will start. So that is how the fire can easily spread when they are through this method, convectional currency. Let's talk about conduction. And conduction is the transfer of heat through solid materials. This is the principle that heat can be transmitted through solid materials. Some materials in particular conduct heat very quickly and efficiently. An example of these materials is copper. Any pipes, any wires, any ducts or service running from room to room can act as a conduit for heat and spread the fire. In the same way that a metal spoon heats up with a saucepan in the hob. When you use your spoon to take something from a hot soup or in a cooking pan, you will realize that within some minutes, the heat have transferred from the bottom to where you have hold it, where your fingers are. So the transfer of the heat from the bottom of the spoon to the top through the spoon, that is what we call conduction. So conduction is a method of heat transfer through solid. So in simple terms, when you are asked to define what conduction is, you will say that conduction is a method of heat transfer through solid. That is the right definition. You can give an example as much as you can. But remember that conduction can occur, but not all materials are conducting a heat the same. Some materials are good conductors, while other materials are not good conductors. So we have given an example of the copper as a very good heat conductor. And the last one is radiation. So radiation is also a method of heat transfer, and let's see how it works. So heat energy can be radiated through air in the form of infrared heat waves which travel in a straight line. So take a glass and you put heat in one end, and you will realize that through the glass, the heat will be transferred and reach to the other side through the glass. The waves of heat can travel in a straight line the way light travel in a straight line. And they can also pass from one transparent material or surface, such as glass, to another place. So radiant or radiation heat generated by a fire shines into or onto nearby surfaces and is then absorbed. So if the material heats up sufficiently, it can burst into flames. Radiation, again, is a method of heat transfer through air. The heat can also be transferred through materials such as glasses from one end to the other. This will mark the end of our today's video. Understand? So if there is any question regarding this topic, feel free to ask, and we are ready to assist you at any given moment. And that will mark the end of our video. Let's meet in our next video.